Hey everyone, a very good morning and welcome to a new daily market outlook. So yesterday there was not a daily market outlook. I was visiting some family for the weekend, therefore no market outlook, but we are back and we are doing well as always. So let's dive into the markets, see what is going on and see where the major dollar pairs are going to be heading next. Starting off with the dollar index. Looking at the dollar index, we can currently see that we're inside this weekly area of supply, expecting some form of a reaction from this area. However, nothing is really clear for the rest. We don't really have any other areas of supply. We did have this area of supply in the past, but as we can clearly see, this area has already been filled once before. For the rest, I'm looking in towards this price action, but there's nothing really that catches my eye except for the current zone that I've already drawn in this buy before the big sell-off. Now, looking at the daily, what can we see on the daily? Well, on the daily, we have this area. This area is our main area of interest, or was our main area of interest, alongside this other area over here. So these two areas are our fresh areas of supply, which I will be keeping an eye out for at this current stage and time. Just keeping in mind though that we do have a very nice area of liquidity above this descending trend line with these equal highs over here, which could also easily be taken out. So if we do take those out, what is then next for the dollar index? Well, then I am anticipating on the fact that we are going to move up higher in towards that monthly zone, which I just showed you guys, and alongside this daily area of supply at around 101.947. But for now, just focusing on these two zones over here, 118.7 and 99.175. Expecting some form of a pullback soon, but of course nothing really can be said. Furthermore, looking at the 4 hour is still bullish all the way from this swing low up in towards this swing high over here. Personally, just going to be waiting for a pullback. Once we start seeing a pullback, we can then look for potential longs. For now, demand is in control. As we can clearly see, this quick sell before the buy got filled and then further upside continuation. So yeah, I mean, for now, dollar is just looking extremely strong, and I'll just be waiting for a pullback until really engaging with the dollar index itself. So with that said, let's head over to our first pair, which is Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar is finally pulling back or pushing back downwards. As I mentioned last week, yeah, these are kind of pretty much the areas that I was looking out for. Daily and weekly were still bearish. So yeah, as we can see, this area on the daily did it for Aussie dollar. We did kind of spike above in towards this zone, which was not fresh anymore over here. But yeah, main focus for me was on this zone. So yeah, beautiful price action. Currently seeing Aussie dollar dump lower. Looking at the 4 hour though, 4 hour is of course still bullish. But it is looking good for further downside because the higher time frames are always going to be stronger than the lower time frames. So if we look at the daily and the weekly, we know, okay, these are bearish. The 4 hours may be bullish, but we can anticipate and expect Aussie dollar to push down lower because the higher time frame will always take precedence, or nearly always takes precedence over the lower time frame. So for now, what are the areas of interest? Well, this is my main area of interest, this area of supply. So let's see if we can see kind of a push down lower, then potentially a pullback and try getting into potentially an Aussie dollar short from that area of supply. That's my only real area of interest, trying to kind of catch this move down lower in line with the overall daily trend. So yeah, that is that from Aussie dollar. Let's head to euro dollar and euro dollar. So euro dollar is a pretty ugly pair at the moment, I would say. Looking at the current 4 hour, we can just really see this massive overextended move in towards the downside. Not much really to be said at the current moment in time. Aussie dollar tried to push up higher to kind of like, yeah, let's say rebalance this entire move down. However, as we can see, supply is just still clearly in control. Over here, we had this area of supply, these two buy candles before the big sell-off. As we can clearly see, tap into it and then a tap out again. So at the moment, not really interested at all in engaging with euro dollar. All I can say is that we're currently located inside this area of demand. So let's see if we can see a nice reaction from that zone and start seeing a pullback on the daily. Daily is currently bearish swing from here to here. So yeah, just waiting for a pullback to finally engage with shorts again. Personally, I'm not liking the fact that I would be shorting from here, because if you have a trend, you always want to be shorting from the lower high, not from the potential lower low. So yeah, that is that from euro dollar. Let's just wait on that. So let's head over to our next pair, which is pound dollar. And pound dollar. So pound dollar finally did what we've been potentially anticipating for such a long time now. The bearish, of course, daily pound dollar fall down lower is just pretty much a beauty to my eye. Looking at what we currently have, we don't really have anything interesting. The 4 hour is currently in a bearish swing leg from this low up until this high. So if we do see pullback, we can start looking for shorts, preferably from, let's say, this region over here or this region over here. But yeah, I really doubt it that we're going to see such a strong pullback in the near future. But if we do, then we can look for some potential beautiful longs. Going back in towards the daily, this is pretty much the area that I'm going to be focusing on. This is weekly area of demand. So once we get in towards that area of demand on the weekly, I do expect some form of a pullback. So yeah, that is that from pound dollar. And with that said, let's head over to our last pair, which is Kiwi dollar. And Kiwi dollar. So looking at Kiwi dollar at the moment, what can we see? Well, the 4 hour is still extremely bullish. As we can clearly see, we broke this high and closed above it. So what does that mean? Well, it means that this is now your swing low and this is your swing high. So 4 hour structure on Kiwi dollar is really screwed up, I would say. Of course, you could say, okay, well, we have this kind of internal trend, right? But yeah, that is true. But I always like using the swing trend, and the swing trend on the 4 hour is now bullish and runs from here to here and then from here all the way up to here. So all of this is just internal impulse up, which is contributing to the overall swing structure. But yeah, looking at the daily, and the daily just has my main focus, we can clearly see that we pretty much liquidated all stops of people going short. And yeah, now we're starting to tank down lower from this area of supply. Just keeping in mind that we could potentially still see a push up higher. But if we look at the imbalances in the market, we can clearly see that this imbalance over here got filled. And that is currently what is causing price to drop. So yeah, still no close above this high, meaning the daily is still bearish. So I am still anticipating a move down lower until we see a close above that black line over here on Kiwi dollar. For the rest, yeah, just useless 4 hour structure in my opinion. So with that said, and I of course mainly trade the 4 hours. So yeah, if the 4 hour structure isn't looking good, I personally just skip the pairs. So let's have a look at gold at last but not least. And gold is just flying, expecting, of course, a push up higher in towards this weekly swing high. Yeah, not much to be said. There aren't really any clear areas of supply on the weekly. Looking at the daily, what we could say is, yeah, pretty much this area is kind of the last area of potential supply, I would say. Approximately at 2027. So we could see potential pullback from there. But yeah, for now, just not really engaging with gold due to its bullish nature. So yeah, that is that for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you all a fantastic day. Thanks.